All right, everybody. So today we are going to talk about our little white goat, Little Mama, that we did a little update on about a month ago when she was starting to show signs that she was getting close to going in labor. Well, she went into labor a couple of days ago, and I got some video that I'll put in here that I started recording whenever she really started showing signs of going in labor, but she she was real uncomfortable, just pacing around, pawing around the ground, all the typical signs that she was going into labor. So we stayed up with her pretty late that evening, and she really never showed no signs of progression. So we called it quits and got up early. We got up once in the middle of the night, checked on her. She didn't look no different. So we got up again early in the morning and went out there to check on her, and it had seemed that her water had broken somewhere along the way between when we checked on her to that point. And then so I got a rubber glove on and felt to see what I could feel in the birthing canal, and I could feel, well, I thought it was the baby's tail. Thought he was trying to come out backwards. And I kept trying to work around with her and try to get it to come on out, but apparently the water sac had come out already, and we don't know really what time that happened at. So we don't have a vet around here that does house calls. You have to take everything to the vet. So we ended up having to load her up, take her to the vet. The vet checked her out. Her water bulb had broke, and the baby was stuck. So she couldn't pass it. When the vet checked her, come to find out it was the baby's ear that I was feeling in there, and its head was turned sideways and its feet was in behind it. So there was no way she was going to be able to pass it naturally, so they had to do a C-section. Well, we figured with as long as it had been since her water had broke, not really knowing, that it broke somewhere in the middle of the night, generally you want the baby out within an hour. Well, it had already been several hours. So we really assumed that the baby had probably already passed away in the birthing canal. So we left her at the vet, and they done a C-section, and we went back that evening to pick her up, just assuming that it was going to be the mama. Well, they had one little baby boy, and we do got some pictures of him and a little short video of him. He was really weak. He couldn't really eat. The mama had pretty much shunned him. Of course, she was heavily medicated from just having surgery. So we was glad to see the baby was alive. So we got the goat home, and we milked out some colostrum from her to try to feed the baby. We tried to get the baby on her in the setup for milking her, but she still wouldn't have it. And it was a little boy goat, and he wouldn't really latch on to the nipple. We tried getting some colostrum out and getting it on his lips and letting him know that that's where he needed to be, but we could get the nipple in his mouth, but he wouldn't suck on it and get nothing out. So we ended up milking it and trying to bottle feed it. There again, he wouldn't suck on the nipple on the bottle. So my wife was kind of not necessarily force feeding him, but kind of force feeding him. She was holding his head back where his mouth was open with the nipple in there and squeezing the nipple and getting it in there, and he got a good bit in him. He drank some. But he was real weak. Well, we put him down on the floor, and we got a little short video that we're going to put in there of him trying to walk around on the floor. And by this point, he had already been out since about 9 that morning, and he still wasn't real stable on his legs. He couldn't really walk around a whole lot. Well, we got to watching him, and he'd just walk in a straight line and run into stuff. So he would get real excited when we touched him, but he wouldn't. When you wasn't touching him and he was standing up, he stood still a lot of the time until you touched him, and he knew that you was around. So I got to doing some testing in front of him, and the poor little dude was just blind as a bat. And that's one of the side effects of them being stuck in the birthing canal, especially that long, is that they get oxygen deficient because they can't breathe right. They can't breathe, really. And a lot of times they'll come out blind or they'll come out deaf. And we ain't real sure that he couldn't even taste, because he didn't act like he could really taste the food, the milk, whenever we would put it in his mouth. So he was still real weak, and we fed him as much as we could get in him, and put him on a heating blanket and with a heating lamp in a box in the house, and checked on him several times through the night. Well, youngest son, Zach, actually slept in the living room so he could keep an eye on him, and checked on him several times through the night. He woke up several times through the night, and well, we got up at 5 that morning, and he had passed away. We think it was just because he was just so weak and just so messed up from being stuck in the birthing canal so long. But he was a huge baby. Now, that little white goat, she's a pygmy goat, so she's pretty small. Well, we don't know what she was bred with, really, because these was rescue goats. The Billy that we have here that we thought she might be bred by is not a whole lot bigger than her. So we was kind of figuring, as big as she was, that there was a couple of babies in there. Well, it was just that one baby, and he was huge. Well, and that's one reason why she could, even if the baby would have been coming out right, she wouldn't have been able to have him naturally, because he was so big that her hips wouldn't spread apart far enough for the baby to come out, because he was massive. But I mean, we fed him a bottle full of food right before we laid down, and checked him through the middle of the night. He was good and warm, all that stuff. He had used the bathroom, so he was getting plenty of food, but I guess he succumbed to being stuck in the birthing canal that long. So we are not real happy about that. It happens, unfortunately. I mean, that's just part of having animals on a homestead or on a farm or anything like that. Is you are gonna have some deaths along the way. Just like we just got some baby chicks, and the first two mornings we got up and checked on them, we had one that had passed away 2 mornings in a row. So we had got 30 babies, and 2 ended up passing away. But that's part of growing animals, part of raising animals, is you are gonna have some deaths, and it's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. Only the strong survive, really. So we just do what we can with what we can keep alive. I mean, we give everything it needs as far as food and water and nutrients and anything like that, vitamins. But every now and then it just ain't in the cards for it to stay alive. So we were surprised that he was still alive when we got to the vet, but we didn't have hopes on him surviving too long, because he was really weak. He was really messed up from being stuck in that birthing canal so long. So, that's the unfortunate part of having animals, is sometimes they just succumb to other things that don't want them to be alive anymore. But we'll put these little. I got a few little pictures and a few one little short video of him trying to walk around, and we're gonna put that in. But we appreciate all the support on this channel. Go ahead and if you're not a member, Lord, we don't have members. If you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe and like these videos, share these videos, leave us some comments, leave us some feedback on these videos, and we're gonna put these little. I'll put these few pictures and this little video clip in there just so y'all can see. He was a cute little fella, but we'll put them in there where y'all can see him, and we'll see y'all on the next one. All right, everybody. Well, I'm recording on my phone because it looks like this little goat that we did an update on about a month ago is starting to show some pretty good signs of labor. She's starting to arch her back up real high in the back end. She'll get over there and just stare off into space. And she gets in that little house that we got back there, and she just paws at the ground and lays down, and then she'll stand up and she'll paw at the ground again, and then she'll stand up. And so she's starting to show pretty good signs of labor. So we're hoping that we got some babies coming soon. So we'll record some more of that whenever activity starts happening. Hey, little mama. Hey, little mama. We're just waiting on you to have them babies. As you can see, her udder is really, really swollen up. Well, I guess she's gonna pee now. We hadn't had no water break or nothing like that yet, but she's showing signs, so we'll see. Hey there, mama. Hey there, mama. And every time we touch her, she just freezes, which she ain't never done. She's always just moved around while we rub on her, but for some reason today she ain't moving around a lot. All right, so as you can see, it is getting dark out here, and still nothing yet. We still waiting. We're on I guess kid watch through the night. We're cooking right now, getting ready to eat supper. Just kind of keep an eye on her, watching what she does. She seems to like doing that. She stretches her hips out really far every time she climbs up on something. So, I don't know. We'll see. So, we'll continue this video as things happen.